Long before the modern nation of Nigeria existed, the great city of Zazzau stood proudly across the northern savannah. Merchants filled its markets, blacksmiths forged weapons, and travelers carried stories from distant lands. But among all those stories, one name would outlive them all. Amina. She was not remembered because she wore a crown. She was remembered because she carried a sword. Born into the royal family of Zazzau in the 16th century, Amina grew up watching soldiers train outside the palace walls. While many expected the princess to master court life alone, Amina was fascinated by horses, military strategy, and the discipline of warriors. Day after day, she trained with determination. She learned to ride across the open plains, handle weapons, and think like a commander. Long before she became a queen, she had already earned the respect of many experienced fighters. No one knew then that this determined young princess would become one of the most famous women in African history. As Amina grew older, her reputation spread beyond the palace. She wasn't known for expensive jewelry or royal celebrations. She was known for discipline, courage, and a sharp military mind. After the death of her brother, Amina became the ruler of Zazzau. It was a time when strong leadership was essential. Trade routes needed protection, neighboring kingdoms competed for influence, and every decision could shape the future of the kingdom. Rather than waiting for danger to reach her people, Amina took the initiative. Historical traditions describe her leading military expeditions that expanded Zazzau's influence and helped secure important trade routes across the region. Her armies traveled across vast grasslands, crossing rivers and open plains. Wherever they went, they carried not only weapons, but also the strength and growing influence of Zazzau. As stories of her victories spread, Queen Amina became a name that many respected and many feared. Queen Amina's victories were not only about expanding territory, they also strengthened trade and helped connect communities across the region. As caravans traveled more safely, goods, ideas, and cultures moved with them, increasing the prosperity of Zazzau. Over time, stories of the warrior queen spread far beyond her kingdom. Traders, travelers, and neighboring rulers spoke of a fearless leader who rode at the front of her army instead of watching from behind palace walls. While some details of her life remain part of oral tradition rather than written history, one fact remains clear. Queen Amina became one of the most enduring symbols of courage and leadership in African history. Centuries have passed, but her legacy still lives on. Schools, books, and generations of storytellers continue to remember the queen who refused to let fear decide the future of her people. Queen Amina's story reminds us that true leadership is not measured by a crown, but by courage, wisdom, and the willingness to protect those who depend on you. History does not always remember those who lived in the biggest kingdoms. Sometimes it remembers those whose courage changed the course of a people. Queen Amina's story has survived for centuries because it represents determination, leadership, and resilience. Although historians continue to study different parts of her life, her legacy remains deeply rooted in the history and traditions of northern Nigeria. Today, her name continues to inspire people across Africa and beyond. She reminds us that great leaders are remembered not because they sought fame, but because they served with courage. Africa is filled with remarkable stories like this. Stories of kings, queens, warriors, inventors, kingdoms, and ordinary people whose lives shaped history. This is only the beginning. Africa is home to countless forgotten kingdoms, remarkable heroes, ancient mysteries, and incredible stories waiting to be rediscovered. Welcome to Baobab Archives, where Africa's history, mysteries, legends, and untold stories come to life. Subscribe and join us on our journey into Africa's past. Until next time.